Well, welcome to the Pro Brick exclusive YouTube channel with Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. I don't practice as a theologist anymore. The call went off my life and I accepted that. I didn't do anything wrong or anything. I just believe it was all the end for me in that area. But I've got a lot of information and knowledge that I gained over the years that can help people to probably understand some things from my experiences. I've dated and been married twice and dated lots of women over my life, and I've come to a point in my life where I'm really starting to question who you're going to get mixed up with. And that's not a criticism of people. It's more of a chemistry question about how chemistry is going to work when you meet someone. See, chemistry is about mixing things together and what the results will be and how that's going to work out. And when you meet someone, the two different chemistries that you have might start off as a good mixture. There might not be any question about the mixture that they have and what comes out of it. But as time goes by, those chemistries, those spiritual and soulish parts of you that mix together can begin to challenge one another. Things can start to challenge you on the inside, and you got two choices. You go, either this person's worth it and I'm going to battle on and I'm going to stand for this person. I like this person enough and I'm interested enough to be able to stand for this person despite the circumstances. Or you go, I'll ride this as long as I can and see what happens, and if it crushes, it crushes, and if it don't, it don't. You can fake it till you make it, as it were, and then you can come to the conclusion, if it be the case, that it's just not going to work, because sometimes it's better to finish things fast if that's not the case. But what do you do if you're 1 or 2 years down the track and everything's gone reasonably well, the ingredients are there for things to work and go well, and then things start to unravel before your eyes? What do you do? Well, the first thing you need to know is you shouldn't be attached. You shouldn't be psychologically, spiritually, or emotionally attached to that person at this point. Because if you're not keeping your heart close to your chest and you're allowing yourself just to become molded to that person, and they begin to let you down, I'm speaking to men and women, and they begin to let you down, you have caused yourself what's known as a soul tie. Now, a soul tie can only take place by way of spiritual permission, heart and mind permission. That's when you allow your heart and mind to give over to that person in a way in which a transition takes place, where you enter that person through sexual relations and they enter you. Okay, it's not just an act, there's more going on than an act. You're participating in a very deep, sacred act that has transitional, spiritual and soulish transitions take place, where the chemistries of the two of you, the unseen chemistries, begin to fuse something within inside you from that other person. That's the power of feminine and masculine transmission through sexual intercourse. Not many people realize that sexual intercourse is a sacred and valuable act that people do. It's got a lot of value to it, and you can use it for power, or you can abuse it and bring destruction on yourself. And unfortunately today, people are taking it as a big joke, one big joke, and not understanding the implications that can happen when things go wrong. If you become soul tied, spiritually and soul fused to someone, and they begin to crash, this is where the damage comes from in breakups. This is where the part of you that needs value from that person now is going to turn into zero. Because while things are good, going good and everybody's working everything out and acting like mature adults and, you know, pushing the immaturities and interferences that really aren't supposed to be there out of the way. Everybody wants things to work and we're protecting the situation and, you know, being mature about the whole thing. When things start to crash, people start misbehaving, things aren't getting resolved, resentment starts building up, they start speaking to other people, start getting advice from people that aren't professional. Things can go wrong pretty quick. And what you'll find is people will still turn up to the relationship. Oh, they'll still turn up. But that doesn't mean everything's right on the inside. And the way in which you can protect yourself from this is to see how they deal with the micro progressive issues that come up in the relationship as you're going along. The micro progressive issues that come up in the relationship as you go along. That's what you got to watch out for. If they're not dealing with the micro incremental issues that need to be resolved as you're going along, I can guarantee you, if things get tough, they ain't going to deal with that either. And this is why it's important to understand about attachment. You cannot attach and should not attach to somebody until you're sure that they're going to fight the good fight for your relationship. You're up against children, family members, exes, you're up against the ex's family, you're up against friends that get disgruntled when their girlfriends get a relationship and they're left standing there. You're up against a lot. And you need to protect yourself from these unpredictables. Well, they are predictables, but you don't know to what extent they're going to work for you or against you until you're starting to get deeper with this person. Because all people are going to want sex, all people usually give good sex, with variation to their uniqueness and everything, because people want intimacy. There's something beautiful about intimacy that does us all good. No harm done, unless you're being used. And it's your responsibility as an adult to work out whether you're being conditioned into a situation where you're just a convenience for that person to meet a need while they're living out their life somewhere else. You'll get intertransactional relationship movements between people's tribes. I'm not calling them families, I'm calling them tribes. And a tribe can go right down to a person that lives on their own. They've still got a tribe somewhere behind them, lurking in the distance, in the bushes, as it were. And the spirit that's running from that tribe, you have to suss it out as quickly as you can. You have to suss out whether there's evil underneath the surface, immaturities, infantilities, if that's a word, infantileness. You have to make sure that that person has power to resolve and will maintain that power to resolve, because if they don't, you'll be left stranded. Once resentment gets in the door, that's the beginning of the end, because it shouldn't get there in the first place. Resentment's always based on a betrayal or a lie or a secret or a mistrust or a letdown or laziness. Resentment can come in many, many ways. Information about a person's past, a word taken the wrong way. There's so many ways in which resentment can conceive itself. And if that resentment isn't dealt with, this is the beginning of the end. It's just the beginning of the end. Now, can you imagine being in a relationship with a partner and their children, adult children, just don't like you with that partner? Can you imagine the stress that that's going to bring on that woman or that, well, men should know better, really. But women, given that they're maternally blinded, 9 times out of 10, they're going to side with the children, be it adult, infant, or whatever. There are instances where that doesn't happen, but for the most part you'll find they're going to end up with the children anyway, so it's really something of no consequence to yourself if you don't attach. You've got to understand that women are maternally blindsided, and a lot of women today, as time's going on, are having a lot of trouble with their children via rebellion and things like this, because there's no discipline in the house. A lot of these single mothers don't know how to apply discipline that has any impact, and therefore if there's males in the house, they become the surrogate partners of these single mothers and end up running the house. And I've been in some situations where I've seen complete infantile young adult males that had no clue of. I've said to one girl, has he got any self-awareness about how he's behaving? And she said, I don't know, because she didn't know. And that amazed me, because this woman had no clue of the characteristic construct of her own son. Yet he was the golden child, pedestalized, running the house, and had no clue whatsoever as to a sober, powerful in the sense of well put together man. I don't want trouble. I'm a peaceful man. I'm a Christian man. I'm not going to get caught up in people's serial villainization of who you are and what you are. I'll just walk away. Don't ask me to try and fix shit like that, because you can't fix decades of dysfunction and drug use and medication and all these opt-outs of resolve methods. Resilience and fortitude and all that's gone today, guys. You can't afford to attach. You cannot mentally, spiritually, or emotionally attach to these people until you're actually sure that they're going to sell out for you. Because if you attach and you're running your show and your masculinity the way you should, and they start to collapse all around you, you'll be raped. It's like a rape. And you'll wonder how you've gone from 90% value to zero. When a relationship breaks down, the value of your person breaks down with it until it becomes to zero, which is the end of the relationship. Nobody wants to end up as zero. Nobody wants to fail in their relationship. Nobody. But there's not much fight today. Single mothers fall back on their children as a default. They've structured their family home in a way in which there'll be a set place to fall back on with their surrogate partnered children, and that's more important to them a lot of the time ultimately than the relationship, because they know the children have to be there because they're reliant on the single parent's income. There's so much dysfunction today that you're up against, guys. Try not to attach to these people. Be a good man, do what you can, produce, give, satisfy and all that. But if you're foolish enough to attach and give your heart over to one of these women today, you're going to end up damaged, seriously damaged. And this is why there's so many therapy clinics and relationship coaches that are teaching men to how to recover from a breakup. Isn't it all predictable now, guys? Really, isn't it all predictable? You've got no right to attach to these people. It's not your place. It's not what you're made for. You have to remain a unique, self-aware, self-sufficient man. You can love someone without attaching to them. Ask my exes. They never missed out on anything, only the fact that I didn't want to clean up their shit, the nappies on their shitty little adult children. No. And dysfunctional fucking relatives and crap. Leave them to it, guys. If they're not going to stand for you and say, hey, get the fuck out of my relationship, you interfering idiots, walk away. Do not attach. Do not attach so that you have the superpower, right? The male superpower to walk away, because I guarantee you eventually the resentment of all the pressure and trouble that that woman has from her family, relatives, siblings, whatever, that are going to work against you, she'll eventually crash anyway. So as soon as you get the signs, guys, be able to walk away. Just be able to walk away and move forward and learn and be strong. Be as strong as you can. Life goes forward. There's always somebody else. You'll never be without company. There's always company. Take it from an old fool. If these people won't stand for you and they're mucking you around and blaming you for the behavior of their fucking adult children or relatives or whatever, get up, tell them to get their stuff, piss off and walk away. Don't look back. They'll never into it. They're just using your strength and using your power, which they probably won't get again. When you look at the condition of their own fucking household and the men in it. No. Walk away, guys. That's the only advice I can give you. Do not attach. You've got no right to attach to these people. Think of yourself the whole time. Do the best that you can be, the best man you can be, but be able, honestly, to be able to walk away. If they're not behaving, if they're not performing, if they're not being the woman that they come through the door as when they first come along, look at the signs, weigh them up, and be able, guys, to instantly, without warning, be able to walk away. Do not go against your standards. Do not go against your values. Take it from an old fool. It won't work. It won't work. Pack up shop, send them on their way, and walk away. Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia, on the ProBrick exclusive YouTube channel. Bye for now.